here again with another edition of So What Success Stories. And today my guest is my friend, LaDeia McNeal. And I have known LaDeia 20 plus years, right?
And we're not a day over 25, correct?
We definitely don't look like it, girl. I promise you look exactly the same. And she has an amazing story. She has an amazing story. So LaDeia is the founder of The Positive Experience. And as you said, her day job is a marketing promotion specialist, but she is definitely most excited about what she's doing with The Positive Experience. And I'm most excited about what she's doing with The Positive Experience too, because she has definitely taken what most people would see as a negative situation and turned it into something positive. So LaDeia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, good morning or good afternoon and good evening, because I don't know who's going to watch it when. My name is LaDeia Joyce McNeal. I am a Memphis girl through and through. I like to say I'm Memphis born, Atlanta forged, and Brooklyn propelled. I bleed blue wherever I go. Graduated from the University of Memphis, and I am, like I said, a marketing and promotion specialist by day, by afternoon, founder of The Positive Experience. I'm an HIV positive influencer and advocate and lobbyist, which means I am a Black woman who is thriving out loud with the HIV diagnosis and doing what I can to be impactful, to shifting the narrative what society thinks about when they think of Black women and HIV. So that's just...
girl. And you know, I'm so excited to talk to you, LaDeia, because like I said before, you have taken something that most people would find devastating, that would paralyze them, that they would hide, you know, and make sure nobody knows about it, and probably like go into a shell. But you are here and you living out loud, and you know me and how I do what I do and living out loud with my thing that people judge me about too. But you're saving lives. You're changing lives and you're saving lives and you're freeing people, and it's been amazing. So let's get into the story. So I have with this program what I call the So What Success system. And I like to tell people stories of being successful in spite of their challenges through the So What Success system. And you have lived the So What Success system without even realizing.
Didn't even know it, huh?
Didn't even know it. So what the So What Success system is learning how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices so that you achieve what I call So What Success. And that's success in spite of your challenges. And so my first question to you is about overcoming obstacles. What are some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome personally or professionally to be successful?
Personally, professional. I mean, first and foremost, the major one is that growing up in Memphis, we know socioeconomically what it looks like. I mean, I am a child, I like to say, from the PJs, from a projects child, you know, raised in South Memphis, born in South Memphis, raised in White Haven, and it wasn't a good part of White Haven, right? So it's like growing up in not even close to, in poverty could have been the first thing or the major success I think I had to overcome, because I didn't know we were poor until I got to the University of Memphis, and they were like, they called me into the financial aid. Girl, they called my dorm room like several times, and my roommate was like, financial aid office keeps calling. I'm like, wow, we did all the paperwork, first generation, you know, college student. That's probably the second one. We didn't know what to do. Get to financial aid, and they were like, well, how does a family of four survive over $15,000? I'm like, bruh, I don't know, God, grace, favor. And it was like, why is it such a big deal? Because at that time, I knew that it wasn't easy growing up, but I didn't know we were that far into poverty. Hindsight being 2020 now, oh baby, we was knee deep. But I took that as like, you know, I knew what I experienced. By the time I was 18, I used to always tell my mom, I've experienced probably more in my lifetime at 18 years that people twice my age have experienced. But I'm doing what I can do to make sure the buck stops with me, that my family going forward don't have to experience it. I went through this, so my family doesn't have to go through this. So that was like, that's like an echo, because me and my mom just talked about that when I turned 41 back in January. I was like, Mom, the buck, whatever we had with scarcity, with lack, with poverty, with not having access, that stops with me, with this right here. So I would say that's the major obstacle that propels me with everything I do, because what we know about our city, what we know about our neighborhoods, yes, we got grit, we got grind, but a lot of us fall by the wayside. And so I didn't allow that to make me fall by the wayside. I knew I had to do to what I had to do to get out, for lack of better words, but I made sure I came back to be impactful in my community. So
That's
yeah,
powerful.
that's
That's
the biggest
powerful. You
one.
know what? I was like you because there were 7 of us in our household.
Okay.
And I don't know what my mom, it was my mom and stepdad. So I was blessed. It was two adults in the house. But I do know when I really kind of realized how poor we were, when we would go to
Girl.
McDonald's and my mama would order, I think they would have like a 49-cent cheeseburgers, those specials.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember
Yep.
that.
I do.
And, but my mama would only buy enough for me and my brothers and sisters. Like, Ma, you don't want one? And she was like, I'll just eat. And
Mhm.
I'm like, what? Even looking back on it now, I'm like, what? And I even write about it in my book, how I used to wear my mom's clothes. And not like, because they were so cute and stuff. It was like when I was in 5th and 6th grade and I had to wear my mom's clothes. So I get it. But like you said, I'm at that place too. I'm like, no, we don't have to keep doing it that way. We can do better. And that's no knock on anybody who came before us. It's just us having the knowledge, education, and exposure to do better. I'm so excited for you because of you made a decision, and we'll get to that part of the formula too, but that's part of the decision that you made.
Okay.
So what success system is first overcoming obstacles, and you talked about that obstacle. And the second is eliminating excuses. So what are some of the excuses? Because girl, I know. So we talked about, the poverty, and that could be an excuse, right? I ain't got no money. I can't afford to go to college. I can't do this. I can't do that. But what are some of the other excuses you had to say, I'm not using that one?
Child, do we have time?
I know.
Do we have the time? I would say as of recently, it would have been my HIV diagnosis back in September 2016. And I tell people, me doing what I do now within the HIV community is not foreign. I started being what I like to identify as an ally back in undergrad when we used to do work with the Hope House. So that was when I got really exposed to like HIV. We talked about it, but that was like my first time doing anything philanthropic with HIV that was HIV centered. So knowing what I knew about HIV, the rumors, not even rumors, the stigmas, the stereotypes, and the myths that are perpetuated, especially in our community, especially in Memphis, when it comes to HIV, I could have used that not to propel or move forward with what I have been commissioned, for lack of better words, to do, have been graced to do. God gave me options. He's like, you got a year. Don't say nothing about it. But after that year, I need you to do something. And I could have sat in like, no, God, they gonna say this, they gonna think that, they gonna judge me for this. Or I just use like you said, so what? It is what it is. This is what God told me to do. People be damned. Y'all gonna say what y'all want to say regardless. So why not live my whole life out loud, right? And help people along the way versus holding a secret that literally, I don't not so much kill physically, but will kill me emotionally and mentally and psychologically, because that's a lot to hold. And I tell anybody. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna let that excuse or that obstacle, what they may think or say, keep me from being a catalyst for change in somebody else's life. Because I've always said I want to be the catalyst for change. If you want change, you gotta be change, right? So if even in this sector, let me do what I need to do, show up how I need to show up, just to impact change in
And you
somebody's
have
life.
been amazing. You have been, because I don't know if you put educator as part of your description, but you've been an educator too, because I'm one who has been educated just by following you.
Wow.
I've been educated. I mean, it's a lot, like you just said, it's a lot of ignorance out there. It's a whole lot of ignorance, and it's a whole lot of prejudice and judgment and all that, but then it's a whole lot of ignorance. And I put myself more in the ignorant category when it comes to a lot of things related to HIV and AIDS. And that's because I haven't had a real reason to know. I feel, but you have educated me just seeing your posts. Just seeing your
Wow.
posts been very educational to me. But I know not just me. And I know to so many other people, and I appreciate the positivity that you exhibit. And I mean, and it is a play on words, but it's a great play on words, right? Because you are bringing light and life to a very scary situation, right? And you're informing people and educating people a whole lot about that. So talk about it a little bit, the positive experience, how you came about starting the positive experience.
Lord Jesus. No, I would say one thing I can say my diagnosis wasn't like the best. Me finding out from a phone call to the holes I've been poking in the systems that rule and reign, for lack of better words, when it comes to Ryan White, Medicaid Part B, here in Tennessee. I have experienced some knockdown, drag out experiences. And through that, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. Some of you not gonna make me cry. No. But through that,
you can cry, honey. That's so look, you know you can cry. Let me just say that has been the most beautiful thing to me, is freeing myself to cry. Okay. Because we get tough and we get hard, right? Right. Because you're a fighter like me, it's like we deal with some hard stuff, we deal with some tough stuff. We gotta be tough and keep it moving. But at the same time, we are women and we are real. And so, girl, let your feelings be whatever they are.
Girl, I didn't expect that, but no, it was like after coming and sitting in my car having those experiences, I would weep because I was privileged to be where I was with HIV. It was just me. I had a job. I wasn't a single mother. You know, I had a career. But, well, I almost cussed, but the stuff that y'all are making me go through, and I'm sitting, and this is me acknowledging my privilege. What are y'all doing to these Black women in this city where we make up 93% of all HIV women who are diagnosed, women who are diagnosed with HIV, 93% of them are Black women. Know what we know about this city when it comes to, we're a districtplex. So I have the privilege to work from home. And if my stuff ain't right with my medication or stuff ain't coming through, I can pick up the phone because I was working from home before we were working from home for COVID, right? But what if that mother who worked 9 to 5, who's on the bus, who would take her 2 hours to go home and 2 hours, because we know, if we know the demographic and the social economical makeup of our city, y'all are taking these women through some pure hell and then bastardize them, marginalize them, and talk about them because they're not adhering to their drug regimen. They're not coming into it. You're not doing what needs to be done to make sure they're connected to care properly. And so noticing the lack of resources, noticing the lack of just social and like the 8 areas of self-care when it comes to occupational, mental, emotional, social, the things that so many other support groups have, but we're lacking centered to Black women. I was like, no, the buck stops here. Let me do something with my diagnosis. Let me birth something that's not only social, but also advocacy work based, to make sure women are, if not nothing else, taken care of when those 8 areas of self-care. Because if you address that, help me understand that, then everything else becomes a lot easier. If you equip me with at least some skill sets or some job readiness, I can know what a resume looks like. If you can connect me to other sisters who are experiencing like me, then it won't be so hard for me to walk this walk with this diagnosis. So the HIV, the positive experience is birthed out of my personal experience, but also I understood that being diagnosed with HIV was not just a moment, it's a whole experience. And I wanted to do what I could to embolden, I hate the word empower, but embolden other Black women to make sure the experience was a positive one. Yes, we hear, yes, we have the diagnosis, but I dare not allow people to continue to treat you like a victim. If nothing else, we're going to be a victor. What that looks like for you may be different what it looks like for me. You ain't got to live your life out loud with this diagnosis as loud as I am. Your living out loud could be so totally different. And that's okay. But if you've been empowered and emboldened to stand and speak your truth from where you are, then everything else falls in line. You know how to navigate this. So that's what the positive experience is. And then for the women who are not HIV positive, because I tell people in the mission is irrespective of Black women's HIV status. I want to help restore those who are and help inform about and preventive methods for those who are not. Because we don't do our due diligence. Like you say, you were educated from Post. Imagine how many Black women don't know. But we are the second group out behind Same Gender Loving Man. We're the first group of Black women, period, who are diagnosed. Like 1 in 900 and 12 white women be diagnosed with HIV in her lifetime versus 1 in 48 in Black women in her lifetime.
Yeah.
But we're not centered in education and prevention and awareness. So let me do what I can to impact my sphere of influence so they can create little fires and create and inspire their spheres of influence. That's
what you're doing. And that is what you're doing. And I'll say this just real quick. It reminds me, our stories are not the same, but they're so much the same in the sense that when I started, especially, my mission was to support teen parents. Because my whole thing started with me writing my book about being a teen mom, and it was to support teen parents, but at the same time to help prevent teen pregnancy. So it's the same, it's similar in that sense. But yes, LaDeia, I feel your heart and I feel your passion, and and I feel like God will do that thing though and put you in a situation so that you can use that situation to help other people if you so choose to do that. And that's what you're doing. And it's not easy. And I think that you are one of the bravest women that I know. You absolutely are, because you are doing what a lot of women wouldn't do. Because you said the numbers, right? Do we have a whole lot of people who are doing what you're doing? No. But you were equipped to do that, and you were given this story, and I think you see that. You were given this story, and you are given a face. And I just think the number of women and men in lives, because that's the thing. If you save a woman, then you're probably saving lots of men too, right? You are changing lives that you will never ever see. You're preventing the spread in so many ways that you'll never ever see. And so you every day you should be so proud of yourself for what you're doing, because of the impact that you will have on so many people's lives. Again, think you'll never even know the magnitude of it. You'll never know.
Cry.
But that's just real, girl. It is just real. And I have so much I don't want to say that I'm thinking about, but because I'm emotional too right now, because what I'm seeing as I'm looking at you is I'm just seeing all the people that you will never see.
Right. And that's
you are helping, that you are helping. And so before we go to the last few questions, the other thing, let's go on and give you a shout out for that national TV commercial. Talk to us about that experience.
I know nothing you're talking about. I mean, I might have been on the TV, might have been in a couple of magazines. I don't know. But I can say that it was a very dope experience. I take none of this for granted. I take none of this for granted. With the commercial, it was bittersweet, because even then I was like, how am I in 20 and 19, because that was 2019, knowing what we know about the numbers, how am I the first, I think I was one of the first Black women to be the sole protagonist in an HIV commercial. I was just like, meaning it was just about me, one Black woman, you see her story in a commercial in 2019, because that's when it aired. I was just like, that's sweet. But anytime I hear the first or possibly first, second, anything when it comes to Black folks, I'd be like,
still. Because girl, I have some firsts under me that I've been honored about, but at the same time, just like you, I'm like, when are we going to stop having these firsts? What is
you this? Get heavy. You were like, we still doing this?
Right. And so it's bittersweet, because you're like honored to be the first, but it's like we're behind. So, but I'll tell you this though, I was proud to see you in that commercial, and you got lots of airplay. I was like, I know her.
Right. It kind of I was like, every
ahead.
city. It was just like every city I would go to, or friends, like, I'm sitting here looking at you, ma'am, you all the way in LA, you in Dallas, it was crazy, but yeah, it was a lot.
And it was awesome. So that just played into the power of you being brave enough to say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm dealing with, and you getting more and more platforms to be able to help people and save people. Because I can only imagine what it feels like to be like, she looks like me, and she's not hiding. She's living her life, because like you just said, it showed your story, your journey, because I think you had just bought your house then too.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, they showed that in the commercial. I thought that was real cool, living your life. So let me get to the next question. So the final part of the SOA success formula. So you have to learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate those excuses. And the final part is to the SOA success system is calculating choices. And so you've talked about choices already, but talk about that a little bit more. Some of the choices that you had to calculate in order to get to where you are and do what you're doing.
I'm about to say, not to get all deep and spiritual, but I do go for it. I'm that person who believes that the destinies of people are tied to you, and they're tied to the decisions that you make. So if it's taking a job, that may be tied to your family, right? If it's you becoming an activist or doing something that's philanthropic, the impact that you want to leave. So again, me calculating a choice to be out loud was intensified over that year when I started to look for people who looked like me. Because we often underestimate the power of storytelling, the power of community, the power of representation. Like you see people like, okay, but you know, she don't look like me, or she may not have had the same experience as me. So going through that year, not saying anything, I knew then I was okay, because I could have very well just been like at that year, but okay, God, you said I could tell it. I'm gonna tell my mama, my daddy, my brothers, and my cousins. You said tell it, right? I did it. Good, right? Checked it off my list things to do. Action item complete. But I knew they would be playing small. I knew that wasn't even in me. I mean, especially marketing promotions. I was like, nah, sis, we gotta go big or go home. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna tell it big. So that was a calculation I had to do, because I had to, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, what is this going to cost? Like, what is the cost? How big of a cost is this going to be? How much will I lose? Who will I lose? But then at the same time, we can either look at what we'll lose or we'll have lost, or we can look at what we can gain. And even my pastor time was like, you knew that you would be in this place, but you never knew that it was going to be this way. And that was where my bittersweetness was coming from. But the sweetness began to outweigh the bitter the more I started to operate in that choice, right? So that's one of those things, like you have to sit down and think about, one, if not you, who? If not now, when? And we can't always think about what we will lose. We have to shift that perspective and think about all the things that you can gain. Like, I never want to live my life with shoulda, couldas, and wouldas. Like, I never want to be that, well, I should have did this, or I could have done that, or I would have done that. I'd rather live my life, I see myself on a rocking porch in my rocking chair, sipping whatever in my mason, in my mason jar, whatever, saying, let me tell you what Auntie did. Let me tell you, not a whole bunch of what ifs, a whole bunch like, I did it, I experienced it, this worked out, this didn't work out, but I have the lived life experiences. And I think those are what makes our lives full. And that way, once we've done all that, counting up the cost, and you get to, because one thing I always say is die empty. Like, if you don't expend that energy, how will you ever leave here empty? Pour yourself out. So I think that all goes into calculating choices. I think those are the questions that we don't usually ask ourselves, but I think a lot of times we view that from the negative, like, what am I gonna lose versus what am I gonna gain? How can this enrich my life versus what is it gonna take away from my life? Right.
So that's powerful, LaDeia, because I see it the same way. We're the same person when it comes to this. I see it the exact same way. And I think you've experienced what I've experienced in that, because I had to calculate the choices too when I shared my story, not just being a teen mom, but how I became a teen mom and the impact it will have on other people that were part of my story, right? But at the same time, I calculate those choices. But what I've experienced that I think you've experienced is you have no idea how big the return is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea how big, and you've experienced it personally already. But again, and I have too, and I'm really thankful for that. And it has not been easy, and I'm sure you can probably attest to that too. There have been times when I'm like, should I have told this story? Like,
did I hear you right, guy?
Maybe I made a mistake. And then something will happen. It's like, no, you didn't make a mistake. That was the right thing to do. And the thing that I constantly remind myself of, and I must constantly say it to you too, is the return that you'll never see. The return, just know it's there. You just know it's there, and that you'll get those people. Like I just told you, you educated me. I'm a grown woman, just like you too. And I know a lot, but it's just all the little things that you say and that you share, just because you're in this experience now. And so you dig deeper than I have or than I would, right? And so you have more to share. So I've learned, but there are so many other people that I know are learning that will never ever say, hey, I learned this from you, you know, that you may not ever hear that from. And so those are the costs too, right? And the what you get back from it in return. And so just stay always encouraged in those moments when you probably get down, because I know I still do, no matter how much people say, I see me smiling.
Right. You like, child, whoo.
The work is hard, and I can only imagine how hard it is for you. But you made that choice. You calculated the choices, and you made that choice, and you've been saving lives, honestly, changing lives and saving lives. So, okay. So when you learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, you achieve what I call so what success. And that's success in spite of your obstacles, success in spite of your challenges. And LaDeia, you definitely exude that. You have been successful in a whole lot of ways in spite of your challenges, and you shared a few with us. And I know you have more than that, because you're a whole person and we have lots of challenges.
Right.
But you have been successful, and a beautiful example of a woman, of a Black woman, of a HIV positive woman, and just a woman making a difference. And so, Anna Zeta woman, let me give your sorority a shout out too for you. I'll do that for you.
Thank you.
Gotta give you a shout out. And that's where we know each other from for real, though, is undergrad, and both we were in the Greek community. And so that's when we really connected in college. So, but you've been successful in spite of your challenges. Now, let me ask you this question. How do you personally define success?
I knew this was coming.
Because it's changed for me over time. So let me hear what you say.
Because at first, you hear success, you're just like, success is like this, and the third. But as I've matured, first I had to recognize success looks different to everybody, right? Overall success for me, I ain't quite there yet, because I ain't got no black card, and I ain't full mom and dad out, all expense pays nowhere yet. I mean, that's like, when I say mama, I made it, it's like I done took Betty to Hawaii, first class on the black card, because she ain't have to pay for it. That's mama, I made it, because that's expensive, right? So that's the top tier level. Says, if I haven't handed Matthew the keys to some truck paid in full, we ain't got there yet.
It's coming in.
Right. But on like this level, success for me is just having and exercising my boundaries, taking moments for peace and self-care, understanding that self-care is not being selfish. Success for me is saying no and meaning it. And just doing, and not to sound contrite or selfish, but doing what's necessary to put and center myself first. Like having a whole mindset, that's success, because they'll make, especially with Black women, they make it sound like success is you burning the candle on both ends, running, doing everything for everybody else. It's like, no, sis, because you can't be no good, no amount successful until you do that for yourself. So what you're trying to give out to other people, you got to give that to yourself on a consistent basis before you give that to anybody. So right now, that flip or that switch is like, I'm gonna take care of me. I'm gonna make sure I'm okay. Like, I gotta say no, exercise and bound. That's success, because you have to get to a certain place in life and have a certain mindset to where you can not only make that decision, but execute that on a consistent basis. And that's what success is like for me right now.
I love it. And I'm with you on that. That whole giving, doing for everybody else. And meanwhile, you smiling and and dying on the inside, right? Exhausted. And so, yes, nothing selfish about it. Is taking care of yourself so that you can ultimately give more and be more to other people in whatever way you choose. So I love that definition. I love that definition. Okay, one last question. Um, so what advice would you give to someone watching this who wants to be successful, however they define success, but they keep running into obstacles, or they're in difficult situations? What advice would you give to someone?
You're in a difficult situation, keep finding yourself in obstacles, and you want to be
a college
successful.
student, this
Anybody.
could be a professional, this could
okay.
be anybody.
I would say first take a look at what the obstacle is and see if it's repeating in your life. Because if that obstacle keeps coming up, but it's the same obstacle, but like it may happen over here this time and then it jumped over here this time, you're not taking the time to figure out what the lesson is in that obstacle, right? You're not taking the time to dedicate to like, okay, hold on. What is God, universe? What am I supposed to be listening or learning that I'm not taking the time to do? Because a lot of times we get repeat obstacles, because you said the same obstacles. You keep getting these same. They come and be like, I'm trying to teach you something on this level. So once you get to the next level, you won't have to repeat this lesson. It's like trying to get to the 12th grade, but you stuck at the 10th grade. Like, I need you to learn something on this 10th grade level, because what you accomplish, what you master on this 10th grade level is going to help you in 11th and 12th grade level. So get this lesson. Stop trying, so I would say first take a look at what the obstacle is, dissect it, spend time with it, like get to know it. Like, I know it may sound weird, but it's like, all right, obstacle, come on, let's pull up a chair. What is it? Talk to me. Because a lot of times we think it's coming to inflict something. And a lot of times it's trying to get something to you, get something through you, help you evolve in some type of way. So if it's the same one, do that, spend time with it, dissect it. And then when it comes around, try a different approach. And then also shift your perspective on a thing. A lot of times our perspectives will mess us up. And we were like, I want to be successful. You look thinking about being successful on level 10. It's just like, no, boo, what have you done with your perspective on level 3? You got to be, shift your perspective, be a good student on this level, show yourself approval on this level, show your consistency on this level. And then as you do that, you grow and you're able to advance. So if my advice would be, look at the obstacles, spend time with it, understand, especially if it's something that's repeating. And the second time, it's like, master this level.
I love it. You know what? That's why I said we're the same person. Because I speak in colleges mostly, and you speak as well. But you just said two of the things that I always talk about in my resilience presentations. And number one is look for the lesson. There's always a lesson. There's always a lesson. Look for the lesson. And again, I think you said it beautifully, that if that obstacle continues to be there or repeat itself, you're not getting the lesson. And maybe you need somebody to help you see what the lesson is. Maybe it's hard for you to see it. And then the other thing you said was change your perspective. And that's what you've done, LaDeia. And I'll close with this. This is the passing because I'll close.
Okay. 3 points in the holler. Come on, 3 points in the holler. So I can open the doors to the church. Come on.
I love it. But change your perspective. And that's exactly what you did. Is that you could have seen your diagnosis as a death sentence. You could have laid down and crawled under the bed or even just told your parents, like you said, and kept it to yourself. But you saw this as an opportunity to help a whole lot of people and change a whole lot of lives. And that's exactly what you did. And I'm honored to be your friend, girl. I've been blessed to watch your journey. And I'm just so super, super, super excited about what the future holds. So thank you for your time, boo. Yes, I mean it. I mean it with every ounce of me. That flight, the black car, all of it, and so much more. And so much, and the things that matter probably even more than that is those lives that you're going to change that you'll never see. I keep saying it. But thank you so much, LaDeia. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Miss Summer. I appreciate it. I'm honored to have spent time with you this morning because you were renowned, honey. You everywhere.
I try to get on your level, have me a commercial in every city.
Thank you for spending time with me. I'm honored to be a part.
And it was my honor too. Thanks, girl.
Thank you.